If you're a man and you don't have Surfshark on your phone or on all your devices, because one subscription works on all your devices as it happens, what are you playing at? You mean to tell me that you've never wanted to change your location to watch that game of football that's not on your local broadcast? Have you never wanted to do that? You have wanted to do that. You've never wanted to see the cool shows they've got on Netflix in America? I'm sure you have. You've never wanted to watch a certain kind of fun content in the UK, but your government don't like it. Got to prove your identity just to have a bit of fucking alone time these days. Not anymore. Yeah, not with Surfshark. The gift that keeps on giving is what they've described it. By they, I mean me. Because it doesn't just do the fun stuff, it also protects you online. You want to log into public Wi-Fi and check your banking or check your emails without worrying about a data breach. It protects you. Surfshark encrypts your internet connection and keeps you completely safe. And getting this to work is so easy that even an idiot like me finds this so easy. Just one click of a button and I'm in America. Brilliant. And this product is so good that they've done a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied, which you will be. Man. Every man should have this app. It should be a thing that we grade each other on. If you're in a bar and you see a mate and you got Surfshark and he goes, what? And you go, well, you haven't heard of it. What's wrong with you? Like, genuinely, where the fuck is this going? It is class, though. I'm not even lying. It is absolutely class. And that is why you need to click the link in the description below and get your 4 months extra of Surfshark when you use our link, surfshark.com/kickoff. Get it sorted. Get on it now. Welcome back to the kickoff. I deliberately picked you two because we're in this bit of a weird triangle right now where Craig said in the group chat last night, he said, you should have relegated us while you had the chance. I thought you're not wrong because this is a nightmare right now. Spurs are back. They're really throwing their weight around like a big club now. And so much so that for the first time ever, we're seeing Spurs bully Manchester United in the transfer market, stealing 2 of their 3 top targets this summer. Craig, I just want to throw it to you. You've signed quite a lot of players. De Zerbi has the pull. It's a transformation we're watching. You're really going to look like a whole different side next season. How does it feel after dicing with death on the final day of the season last season?
Listen, see the emotions I experienced yesterday. We go from a Harry Kane brace, and everyone knows I'm one of the leaders of the Harry Kane fan club. I've always been a Harry Kane stan. I'm not even going to say fan. I'm going to say stan for Harry Kane, okay? I was there in 2018 when they made him captain and I interviewed him standing next to Gareth Southgate. This is different. This is different for me, Brian, okay? We have a special connection. We shared a jacuzzi together. Okay.
I was not expecting that.
I interviewed him in an ice bath. Okay. Harry Kane, I've seen this man grow from a boy to a man. So to see him score that brace and then right after the game, hear that Sandro Tonali, 92.5 million plus add-ons takes it to 100 M's, Brian, from your club. Listen, the euphoria was next level. I've never done heroin, but I'm assuming that's what it feels like. That's the closest thing to putting brown on a spoon you're gonna get. Okay,
no way.
Amazing, and it's still carried through.
Cancel the sponsor. Like
you could blur that out or whatever.
No, it's good.
But yeah. Listen, bro, I'm honestly, I woke up and I was still on a high. Like this, do you know what it is? It's not even about bragging or anything. People will understand the roller coaster of emotions that Spurs fans have been on. We avoided relegation by the skin of our teeth last season. You guys know this, right? It was between us and West Ham. If we lost that game, that would have been it. We're in the Championship right now playing Wrexham.
Genuinely, that relegation, if that last day of the season goes differently, right now, Man United probably get both of those players, like because you were the ones competing. So this has been such a pivotal moment, and we will get on England, by the way, for those who are wondering. We're going to talk about England after this, but we need to address this because KG, your club, they've just been embarrassed a bit here. After getting Champions League football as well, we were expecting you to go levels now and show them this was Manchester United we're talking about here. What's happening?
Manchester United we're talking about here. Well, a couple of things have happened, and you know what? It's really embarrassing. I'm seeing Craig act like this because Pep's left the league, and now he has to support Tottenham again because you know what he's been on. You know that Man City agenda that he's had, and now he's back to his club, and good to see it happen. But I'll say this. I've been watching his tweets, and there's some truth in some of the stuff. We've been saying, too expensive and bulking at the price. but it's a weird thing for Man United fans to be doing. Like, I'll be honest. Like, we right now are saying it's too expensive. Sandro Tonali, I'm not having it. Mateus Fernandes, maybe. You could argue that 85 million for a guy who's been relegated twice is a bit surprising to me. If we did it, we'll be laughed at by everyone in the league. Sandro Tonali is that piece of quality. I do believe that he's a difference maker in terms of a midfielder, and we've lost out to Spurs. We've lost out to Spurs. That doesn't make sense. There's things that can make sense in life, but you don't go to Spurs. Who goes to Spurs? And yes, that's a Spurs fan, but you don't choose Spurs over the great teams in the league. It just doesn't happen. We had this with Mbeumo, and Mbeumo weren't choosing no damn Spurs. And the fact of the matter is, they fought relegation twice, back to back. I've never seen a club look like this, and people want to go there. The fact of leaving Newcastle to go to relegation threatened Spurs is insane. But it just shows, I don't know, the levels, or were we really there? Was really at the door? Did we really put that money down? That's all I'm using to say to myself, okay, maybe we didn't go all the way in, but we showed interest. That's the only way.
I don't get it. I do not understand this from Manchester United, because at the end of the day, you're willing to offer 70 million plus 15 in add-ons, or 15 payments to be made later, and not the full 85 up front. And it's like, why are you haggling like this? And I've got to think back to last summer, where you spent a lot of money to transform your chances in the league, which did work. But remember, at the time, they were talking about they're basically putting it on a credit card. And because Man United are in so much debt because of the Glazers, I think that's hamstringing them now. Whereas with Spurs, we're now seeing the fruits of the stadium, of the fact that they are a Big Six club, and they're actually realising...
They're not a Big Six club. They're not a Big Six club. When are you going to do that?
Financially, though, they clearly are. Like
Craig, you know you're not a Big Six club.
200 million. That's insane. And all of these Beyonce concerts, they're actually paying off now. All of that shit. The NFL games, it's actually paying off.
Wait, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Come on, Brian. Let's be honest.
No, stop.
Is Spurs a Big Six club? Let's actually have that conversation.
No, they are, though, because my club has been in the Champions League twice in the last 4 years. We've won a trophy, and yet they're taking one of our biggest players, and we can't do anything about it because of these financial rules that have stopped Newcastle spending. Spurs are able to spend more than us.
We definitely, first of all, let's be clear.
Let's go.
Yes, it does. Let me explain. First of all, I believe we probably have the 6th biggest fan base in the league globally. All right. Then when we look at the revenues that Spurs turn over as a club, we are definitely in the Big Six in the league. Then when you talk about actually the amount of trophies we've won, in our history of our club, we've won a lot of silverware in the history of our club. So why are we not a Big Six club? I'm quite confused.
We was in the Champions League final. Aston Villa's taking your spot in the Big Six. Aston Villa.
But this is the problem, though, KG. And look at Aston Villa right now, right? They are operating, as Newcastle have been, at their maximum ability. And what's going to happen this summer is Aston Villa are going to lose their best players. Newcastle are going to lose their best players. This is the way it's structured, so that it's here and no further. Newcastle and Aston Villa can break into that top 4, top 5 periodically, but then we get put back in our place because these rules are set up that way. So Spurs, because of their financial setup, and to be fair to the new owners, they're really realising, I think, we got to fucking behave differently the past. And I think we're seeing a new era of Spurs. And just to talk about the players they've signed for a second, lads. Go on to Tonali, to Fernandes. Tonali, I've been critical of him. I've been complimentary of him. So I want to really give it the fairest and most balanced opinion for Spurs fans that I can say.
Yeah, let me know, Brian. I want to know.
He said he's linked to Man United.
I want to be...
If he goes backwards, I'm going to cuss this guy. If this motherfucker does this on the street, he done a video and it was why Tonali shit. If he does this now, all right.
I want your honest take. I want your honest take.
Honest. You have to understand that there's an emotional... When a player chooses to go to a relegation battling side, you are going to be pissed off, especially when the guy was banned from the first year of the 3 years that he's been playing for us, and we supported him through a gambling ban, and he's fucked off the first time we didn't get Champions League football. I don't feel great about it, but I do want to be fair. Of the 3 years, 1 year, he didn't fucking play. The second year, he was one of the most dominant footballers in the league. Like, he literally was one of the driving forces to us getting our first cup, getting into the Champions League. And when he is on, and he can outrun every midfielder, he's a powerhouse, he can shoot from distance, he can be a dominant force in a game, and if not the most dominant footballer on a pitch even. But then there was last season, and I don't know what went on. I don't know why, but he just was quite average last season in terms of not his running. His running was still there. The effort was still there, but on the ball, his passing wasn't. When I was comparing him to Anderson, I was like, Anderson to me is a level above him because of what he can do on the ball. But this is the thing with Tonali. I've been thinking about, why is this a good signing for Spurs? It's because who you've signed with him. Fernandes and Tonali are a very complete and balanced midfield in my mind. Yeah. Like, Fernandes can do the on-the-ball stuff that Bruno Guimaraes does, essentially, for Newcastle. Maybe he's not going to be as good as him, but he is very good on the ball. Tonali is going to be... What Tonali does is what Spurs really desperately needed last season, and that's they were so easy to beat. Tonali's not going to win you games. He's going to stop you from losing them. Fernandes, the players moving forward, Maddison, Simmons could come good. They're going to win you the games. Tonali's going to make you a much harder team to beat, and I think that's why back in the day when we had Claude Makelele, Kante, these kind of players, we all realised one day we're like, these motherfuckers, you need one, and they went and got one. And fair play.
Let me say this, right?
Go ahead.
Because you lot keep saying, why would he choose a relegation fighting team over... Listen, football isn't that black and white, okay? The fact is, he's from Brescia. That's where he came up. That's where De Zerbi's from. There's a deeper human connection there. Sometimes things are bigger than just, obviously he's getting a big pay packet. We're not going to ignore that. 275 grand a week is a lot of money, but he's going to be living in London where a lot of footballers want to live, as opposed to Newcastle. No offense, Brian. I know you moved back up there, but but as a rich footballer, you want to live in London. Like, why not? And then, like I said, there's that deeper connection with Brescia, his hometown where De Zerbi's from. De Zerbi has more pull than a lad's night out in Malia. De Zerbi has that aura. De Zerbi's that guy. Footballers want to play. Footballers want to play for De Zerbi. And you know how you know that? Because when he came in at Spurs, I thought we was already relegated with 8 games to go. You couldn't have picked a manager in the world that I thought could have saved us. And De Zerbi saved us. So that means he transformed all of those players in the squad's mentality to keep us up. I saw it in real time. So what's going to happen now when we start from scratch? You've got new signings. We're not playing any European football. And then you just have to play one game a week with this manager.
I think you've nailed it. You've nailed it, Craig. You nailed it. I just want to say on De Zerbi.
It might be too far, the top 4, but I don't care. We're going to be on the right trajectory. We're going to go from where we was, which was 17th 2 years in a row, to actually going somewhere under this manager who's getting what he wants. This is the key component as well. He's getting the signings he wants. These aren't club signings. This is De Zerbi going in saying, I saved your bacon, so you have to let me bring home the bacon now. That's what you have to do. That's why they're spending 100 million. Do you think the club actually want to spend this amount of money?
No, I'm saying, do you think the club... They definitely did. By the way, we know that in Newcastle. We've heard that from the reports in Newcastle that Spurs were pissed that they had to go to the level that we took them to. And I'm glad that we did. But when you look at the way that broke down, I thought 5-year contract or whatever, it was a long contract. And I was like, they might not even be in the Premier League. The fact that he signed that, we knew they'd given him the keys to the kingdom. And now we're seeing that. And one of the things that frustrates me about Newcastle fans is we alleviate Eddie Howe from any responsibility for transfers and whatever. But here's the thing, getting players into a club, it requires managers on the phone making the calls. And what De Zerbi has proven is that he's very persuasive and he's compelling. And he's obviously he's got a connection, the Italian connection with Tonali, but it's not just him. Fernandes had many suitors. And what Fernandes never did, and this is the thing that Man United, and I want to give this to KJ, is that the game that Man United tried to play, which had worked last season to be fair to them, but it isn't working now, is they wanted to slap their dick on the table and say, our reputation, you got to want to play for Man United, because if you say it's only Man United, in the words of Fabrizio Romano, then all of a sudden it means that no one else's bid matters and we don't have to pay the going rate for you. He never did that because De Zerbi clearly made him want to go to Spurs. So I think that as a Newcastle and for Man United, we should be worried about De Zerbi because he has that flavour, and also in the Champions League, he absolutely annihilated Newcastle tactically the last time we came up against this side. He is a serious manager. KG, what do you think about that strategy from Man United and the fact that De Zerbi could make Spurs, like right now, Spurs' midfield is better than Man United's. Like, absolutely, that's a problem
without a doubt. But a lot of midfields have been better than ours. I will say this: Man United's attitude towards signing has it's almost left wanting. But then you look at what we've done. We've had loads of mercenaries, people that have come to the club just for the finances, and they haven't wanted, they haven't cared about the club. You talk about Alexis Sanchez is one that I always think about. Jadon Sancho has just been paid. He just finished being paid by the club, even though he hasn't paid for it. You want players that care about the club. You want players that give a shit. And what we had last season with the likes of Mateus Cunha and Buemo was a difference of...
Is that not arrogance, though?
You want to play for the club.
You haven't been a title winning club for 13 fucking years, mate. Like even back when you were Alex Ferguson, certified, even he would have to, I remember when Wayne Rooney was up for transfer, Newcastle went for Wayne Rooney, Sir Bobby Robson's Newcastle. This is when we were in the top three competing. If he'd gone, he would have been playing alongside Alan Shearer. Fergie picked up the phone. Roy Keane could have gone to Blackburn. Fergie picked up the phone. Even back then. So I don't know where this attitude of, if you don't want us, then we don't want you. What are you, some hot girl at school, man? This is a joke.
It's kind of crazy. Don't get me wrong. It is a bit crazy. It is a bit crazy. And you start to say to yourself, well, Carrick is a bit of a bit reserved character. So I don't know how much of when he does call, how it hits. Does it hit different? He's won a lot of medals. He's been very successful in his career, but he seems like someone, I don't know how he goes on with a charm offensive. I think what Man United are doing is they're trusting the likes of Vivell. He's the people that are doing, he's the one doing the conversation, and then it's finally the Carrick piece, which is the clubs run different. That's what we're really seeing right now, and they want to actually get value for money. Now, you can win I heard someone else say, just because you win the window doesn't mean you're going to win the league. We saw a team, I would have said Chelsea's window was fantastic at a time. And then guess what? It didn't. What did it do for them? So we can say you can buy all the players. You can even do what the likes of Man City done when you say Reinders, Cherky, these and the other. But what does it do when the games start? What's going on? Now, Man United, we still are in trouble because our midfield right now is Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte, who's injured, and Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. That is our midfield, and we've got a documentary coming. The only thing that's making me feel better is knowing we're not going to have this midfield with that doc. There's no way.
But this is the problem. You've got many more games to play next season. You need that strength and depth. And it isn't just the midfield. You earmarked Lewis Hall. Clearly, they backtracked on that when they realised how much it was going to cost them. There's plenty of players that they backed on. And right now, I think Man United should be worried. And I think all of these fans trying to play businessmen, saying, we're doing the right thing, it's not value for money. I think next season you're going to wish you'd fucking overspend a little bit instead of thinking that you're clever for not overspending.
But since we're passing around the buck and all of us are here, let's talk about your team losing our players to 17th place Spurs. Let's talk about people deciding that they would hate to be on the Geordie side of town. And Bruno Guimaraes once out there, your captain, your guy that apparently loved the club, he's twerking for Arsenal or twerking for the highest bidder. Let's have it right.
Anthony Gordon's gone as well. Gordon's gone for Barcelona. You're not getting raided. What
is going on? Well, let's talk about that since we're having a conversation.
I think the rules are working exactly as they were supposed to. What we are supposed to do is get to a point where we can't further strengthen, can't keep spending, and therefore we have to sell. And especially when you don't get Champions League. Thank you, Eddie Howe. I think we're powerless to stop it, really. All we can do now is try and be the new Brighton, but on a bigger scale, and go after those, like we are, those 20, 21, 22-year-old young lads, 20 to 40 million, flood the squad with as many. But the problem with that is, and this is what worries me.
But you spend money, though. You can't cry broke. You can't cry broke. You spend more than Sunderland. You spend more than Sunderland, and they're doing well. What's going on?
We've fucked it, obviously. We spent money on the wrong players, and that's why I said last night, it's all like a lot of Newcastle fans. I remember when we sold Anthony Gordon celebrating because we got loads of money. I'm like, what? I don't get the money. Like, where's the fucking players to replace him? We've only just begun replacing him. Same with Tonali. It's no good fucking celebrating getting a load of money. It's actually what you do with it. And right now, I'm worried that we're going to buy more Eddie Howe style players, those athletes who lack the technique. And I don't know. Right now, we are a good outside show for relegation next season, right?
No chance.
Especially if we lose Bruno Guimaraes, because he saved us last season from relegation. So we were bang in trouble. So let's move on to. Should we move on to England, boys? Because obviously last night
Yes.
We played DR Congo, and I've got to start with just giving them credit. They were absolute beasts. Like they put us through it. I thought as soon as we meet a good team, we're going to be in trouble, and I just didn't expect it to be them. But they gave us a lot of problems. They scored very early on. Wissa, thank God he's shite for once. It actually benefited us. He should have scored the tap in. But look, there's a clear problem right now with England in breaking sides down, opening the game up, and we just don't seem to be able to do it. We rely on individual moments of brilliance from Jude Bellingham, from Harry Kane. What do you see going wrong with England, lads?
I think when you look at that midfield, as much as I like the likes of Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, it just is it doesn't feel creative. You know, you look at it and it's just like, it's workhorse-ish. You're looking at it and saying, you know, they're going to work and they're going to do a job in there. But it doesn't, I look at where's the creativity coming from? And now you like it, when you add the Morgan, when you add the Rodgers in there, that's a good player that can do something. Eze, you put him in there. I think they put Declan Rice out onto the right, which made him harder to pick up and there's more in the game. You have to be a bit more creative with this side. And I'm not seeing it. I feel like Tuchel is trying to prove his point to us and not changing it. I feel like with the team that he selected, the team that he's taken to this tournament, he's like, look, guys, I'm going to do it with this. It's going to be Madueke. It's going to be these guys. It's like, mate, you now have to add some little changes to the team to get the best out of it. You have to change it completely.
I'm losing faith in that guy by the second, lads. Like, and every game that goes by, take for example, that last match, I felt like we were so ineffective down the left-hand side in particular. I think we're in a situation with Rashford and Gordon where they're both shit at starting games and they're just impact players. We haven't got anyone who can actually do it from the get-go.
But you're losing faith in Tuchel.
I am losing faith in Tuchel. 100% I am. I think he is just insanely stubborn. And when I'm looking at that squad and what we're lacking, when you're in a situation where you can't break a side down, the thing that you need, it's funny, me and you were reminiscing about old England games. Paul Gascoigne, he's a one-off, don't get me wrong, but players who can go past players, open the game up and create problems for the opposition. We see a player in front of us, whether that is a Declan Rice or whoever, and we just look up and we're like, right, is anyone open? They're all being man-marked. Okay. Like, be brave. And I look at Lewis Hall, right? And it's so funny because the guy's a left back, but he's actually one of the best talented English players at going past multiple players, opening the game up, creating chances. The fact that he's sat at home and our left side looks as shit as it does, I'm like, my God, what are you thinking, man?
I think he's more on the right-hand side, to be honest, because I think O'Reilly's been there's no getting past him. He's like, that part there.
I mean, creatively,
everything. Yeah, fair enough.
You know, so I hear what you guys are saying about the midfield for sure. And I think our wingers are a massive problem when I look at the wingers. The wide players, Madueke and Rashford yesterday, they just wasn't doing enough. Obviously, we switched it, brought in Saka and Gordon. Gordon actually contributed to both of the goals, which was good.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
But I just think we're limited where we're limited. Like, and people can talk about the players we should have brought to the World Cup. But the fact of the matter is, it is the Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham show, really and truly. And the rest are just really playing supporting cast. And we're seeing that as the games go on throughout this tournament. I think we massively overrated our squad in general. And I know what you're saying about creativity, but I feel like we created a lot of chances against a team that was kind of, they scored early. Naturally, they were going to try and be stubborn and hard to break down. We was creating chances. The keeper just was having a blind at that game. I feel like if a couple of those go in, everyone has a different outlook on what the game looks like. So I think it's easy to get carried away with England and be very harsh on them. Yes, since that Croatia game, we haven't seen like the best version of England, but I don't know. I feel like with the talent we have there, we are quite limited in certain spaces and we're just doing what I kind of expected. We're not good defensively. Konsa and Guehi, for me, are just not the answer. If you're going to come up against someone maybe like France or whoever, they're going to punish us. A better team with better attacking talent is going to punish us.
The lack of leadership at the back, though. The lack of leadership at the back.
Sorry.
Remember that goal going in, KG, the first goal? Yeah. The lack of leadership there in that all of them are out of line. There's a man at the back completely left on his own. I'm like, it's the first 10 minutes of the game. And that's where you do think a Harry Maguire, again, coming back to the squad selection, like, where is the leader? I don't see one.
I would say this, the biggest mistake probably is when you look at the right backs that he did. and the fact that you're putting Declan Rice there for some level of creativity. You have a Trent at home. That doesn't make sense. You turn out with a guy that always gets injured, and Livermento's not had the clean bill of health as well. So you
I think he took the wrong tools for the job, KG.
Yeah.
Because Livermento, it's a lot of like for like. It's a lot of athletic players. And it's like, I get you don't rate Trent defensively. Maybe you don't rate Lewis Hall defensively. But in games where you need to break a side down, you need those tools for the job that can not have to worry so much defensively, but can create. And we've left our two most creative fullbacks who could overlap, who could get the balls in. They're not there. So he's gone like for like. And what's happening is maybe this squad is set up more for the knockouts against your Spains, your Frances, where we can physically battle them with Rice and Anderson and Bellingham. But it's the tools for the job aren't there, and the Cole Palmers and the technical kind of players. And I'm finding that really worrying and frustrating.
Even if you look at the route to the final, right, it's a tough one. We got to play Mexico on Sunday at the Aztec, and again in front of the Mexican fans. And I'm telling you, that's not going to be easy at all. But they've got that tricky winger as well that's out there. Like the one black Mexican I've ever seen. I can't believe it. It's like, wow. Yeah, he's going to be playing. And I'm telling you right now, he will be a problem. And with like Jed Spence, I don't know, him and Madueke just got caught wanting. I don't know what happened for that first goal, but you could see Congo were good, but they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough quality. Once we meet some quality, we are in trouble. That's the one thing, like, you look at, people can say, don't worry, this, that, and the other, like, we're still winning games. Why is everyone complaining? I think everyone can see the writing on the wall and saying, we can't continue to play like this in games. One thing we do have, though, that I'll give England, like, a pat on the back for is we do have some strength and depth. We was able to bring on Gordon, and like, even if you don't like him that much, the fact is Gordon came on and he was a threat. Gordon was putting the ball where it needs to be. He's trying to service the striker. It made us dangerous. So this is some of the things that we do have.
I guess the last question that I want to put to you then is obviously when we're talking about the lack of the ability to break teams down and that, when you look at the price tags on these footballers, and it kind of brings us back to the transfer talk earlier about like everyone talking about overpaying, and you look at how much a Saka would have been worth if he'd been on the transfer market. Anthony Gordon, an £80 million player, Rice and Anderson, both £100 million plus pound midfielders. Bellingham, God knows what he would be worth. Harry Kane, one of the greatest English footballers ever. The value in these players, and yet we're pretty much saying it's down to Bellingham and Kane. Part of me says, are we just too focused in the English game on athleticism and closing down off the ball and being strong and not enough on the creativity we used to have? But also, are we just overrating English players in terms of what we value them at? And then in a tournament like this, are we finding out that like really some of this lot are really overrated?
I think they're definitely overrated in certain positions. Like I said, I think we got world-class players in like Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. Declan Rice is right there as a world-class player. But like, we've got Elliot Anderson, who I do rate, going for like 120 to 30 million. To Manchester City. And that is definitely English tax. And we've always been like English, you're adding that tax for English players. I think when you've been watching this tournament, you're kind of seeing that there's other nations out there with players that are maybe not as big of brand names, but they're putting in serious performances in this World Cup that are actually like, the African teams have shone in this World Cup. They've all been hard to beat. Like Senegal yesterday, they got really unlucky against Belgium, in my opinion. All of them have put in a shift. So as much as I think we're lacking in certain personnel when it comes to England, I think we've also just got to give props to some of the other nations out there. This isn't an easy World Cup. A lot of nations that we used to look down upon, even teams like Japan or whatnot, they brought it this time round. Yeah. They've stepped up, and it's not going to be, no game's going to be easy. I think England fans really do need to, I know we've waited a long time, 66, right? We've got to adjust our expectation just a little, because I don't think we should be booing the players on the 70th minute, and then 20 minutes later when Harry Kane saves us, singing Wonderwall to the players. It's like, just 20 minutes ago, you were booing them. Now it's like, oh, save me. It's like, just be behind the fight. Like, even us at home, be behind the team, drop the negativity, because I watch other nations, you know, these South American teams, Ecuador, the African teams, their fans are just behind the nation until the very last minute. And even when they lose, they just look proud. But we're always in this kind of negative mindset when it comes
to
entitlement,
isn't it? Is it not entitlement?
No, but I would say that there's that thing that happened with, and I hate to use them as the example, but Arsenal, when they were like fighting for the title, they were like moaning and bitching and complaining. Why? Because they've been so close, and it's like, it can't happen to us again. And for us, we've had semi-final, final. We've been close, and now it's like, we have to do it now. You got these players. There's a good enough team here that you think, surely we can get to the finals and win something, and not getting there would be annoying. So I can see why you'll be crying out when you're playing Congo, and you're like, wait, we could have lost that game 2-0.
Really? I hear you, but listen, only 8 teams, I believe, have only ever won the World Cup in the history. Do you know how many countries there are in the world? And we're one of those 8, okay? So I feel like, yeah, obviously we want ambition. We want to win it. There should be a level of expectation. But we go on like, just because we invented the game, we are entitled to win this tournament. And it's just like, I'm just saying, let's just get behind the boys. Yeah, just get behind them. If you really want to boo at the end of the game, which I wouldn't recommend, then boo at the end of the game. But this booing during the game, I think it's embarrassing, to be honest.
I think you make a good point in terms of, like, it's not really in knockout football. You need all the positivity and get really in the stadium, especially. Just to carry on and finish on that point that you made, Craig, about like how these other nations have really turned up, and I have been impressed. And if there's anything I've realised, after especially Newcastle bought quote unquote Premier League proven players last summer, I think watching all these other nations, if you're a Premier League manager, I get why Spurs have done what they've done, right? Not in the ambition, because it is impressive, but you'd be mental to pay the Premier League tax after you watch this tournament. Now, there's so many fucking good players out there that we should all be looking as clubs now and going, we need to be picking up these diamonds, because they're all over the shop, clearly, and they can deliver in the biggest tournament in the game. We're going to wrap it up there. Big thanks to the boys. It's been a really good catch up. Let's see where Spurs go from here, because I do think that we're not done. Unfortunately for me and KJ, I think they're going to be, they're going for a couple of more sensational players. A few
more. And if they might sign Somerville, that's another one of our targets as well.
They're taking the piss. Somerville, that'll be hilarious.
They're taking the piss.
We'll wrap it up there. Big love to Craig. Big love to KJ. Hit the like button. Subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.